ceremony announces winner of the Maiden Journalist Hangout Prize for Best Graduating Students in Mass Communication. FCCPC blames grain hoarders for rising food inflation, seeks stakeholders' support, and later on the show, Nigeria loses $26 billion yearly to power shortages as system collapses worsen the situation. The MD, CEO of Association of Nigerian Electricity Distributors, Annette Sunday Odunton, will join us for the discussion. I'll be hanging out with Adekunle Yusuf and Chris Kendi Nwadu, while Babajide Kolade Otitoju will also join us via Zoom. Journalist Hangout starts right now. Now let's begin the conversation. Controversial social media personality Martins Otse, popularly known as Very Dark Man, has sparked another outrage. While he is still entangled with the Bobrisky saga, in a recently released video, he was seen ranting on several issues about his mission on social media, but doing it wearing a police uniform. Reacting to the development, spokesperson of the Nigerian police, Muyiwa Adejobi, said the force has launched an investigation to determine the source of the police gear used by Very Dark Man. The police also noted that while it recognizes and supports the creativity of young Nigerians in content creation, it strongly cautions against the misuse of police uniforms or symbols. All right, let me start with you, CK, and let's start from the very beginning. The use of police uniforms on social media by content producers, content creators, is it legal or illegal?
Well, I've not really looked at the police acts, so we'll have to know whether it's legal or not legal. But the fact remains that across the globe, there have been instances where content creators, filmmakers, and the likes be using uniform. If you see most of the movies, American movies and the rest of them, you see American soldiers wearing American soldiers' uniform, camouflage, even with the U.S. Army and the rest of them. So in that area, that place is accessible to a large extent. I've also seen during some of my trips, even on the road, you see people wearing camouflage. Camouflage? Yes, fully decked at the airport and the rest of them, and nobody harasses them. But because of the level of insecurity in the country, our security agencies feel that it is much easier for us to make sure that we limit the use of this, because most often than not, if you've ever seen that even at checkpoints during the kidnappings, you see people fully dressed in army uniform, mounting roadblocks, and you just think that they are soldiers. You slow down only for them to march you into the bush, and they are kidnappers. So based on that, I think that was why the security agencies, both the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, Nigerian Police, and other agencies, security agencies have said, please, can you just leave our uniform alone and concentrate? And apart from that, some other people have also been using it for nefarious activities. Sure. Just a few days ago in Lagos, one man was caught. He has been using last man uniform for the past 5-6 years. Yeah. And the guy said he makes 750K every month using that. So that is where I have my challenges. So, and the police have come several times to tell content creators that please leave this uniform. And I totally agree with them. Whether it's legal or not is another topic entirely. But I don't think it is necessary what VDM did when the Nigerian police uniform coming out now is the police of the people. Is doing. But at times I blame the Nigerian police. You know why I blame the police? Why? There have been instances where police have arrested people wearing that uniform, and they just all we just did, they parade them, and that is all. Let me give you a classical example. There is a man during the Edo State gubernatorial election. Oh, remember that guy? Yeah, I saw that video. That guy wore spy police uniform, came out on social media and came out and was ranting. There has so many people around him and ranting and saying he's going to do this, if you don't do this and the rest of the. All we had was the police invited him, and that was the end of it. So until we start making an example of people like that, and so that people will be able to see the reason why they're not. So the police is, even as I saw the statement issued by my friend, the first PPRO, condemning it. But I would ask you, all the ones they've condemned in the past, all the people they've arrested in the past, what has happened to it? It's either one, they don't have what we call the locus in law. That means they don't have anything to be able to prosecute, because if it's not a function of law, if there is no law banning that, then definitely there's nothing you can do about that. So, but if there is a law within the Police Act or the Army, the criminal code or whatever this thing, then I think they should put a stop to it. You can also do something replica to that of police. You don't need to. It doesn't have to be the police uniform. There's a particular young guy that's a Yoruba skit guy that speaks Yoruba, but his own is on traffic. I don't know his name.
Officer Host.
Maybe that is him. The guy that normally talk to celebrities. I enjoy what he does. He's not wearing police uniform, but you really enjoy the kind of this. So
Officer Camo.
That is his name. It's Officer Camo. I like what he does. I like his skit, but you cannot see him wearing it, because most often than not, those uniforms also portray, especially the Nigerian police, in negative terms, as an organization that only collect bribes and the rest of them. So I totally agree with them.
All right, let me come to you. For those who argue and say that, don't look at the messenger, look at the message. Should VDM be treated differently here? Because looking at the things it was saying, it wasn't saying anything bad. It was talking about being an officer of the society. But should VDM be treated differently, or the law?
Let's go by the law. You know, when something is open to abuses, you see, in our society here, the Nigerian police as an institution is still battling very hard to build public trust, public confidence.
Okay.
In the same way, you see the American public, you know, the British public, the way they have confidence in their own police over there. Here, it's not the same.
There's trust deficits.
So now, for an institution that is still building, you know, public trust, for any Tom, Dick, and Harry to just come up with the full
regalia
of the police, please, to me, it doesn't get my vote. Because when you take a look at it, we have had several reports of many armed robberies, many burglaries, so many crimes committed by people in uniform. And how do we identify the real policemen and the ones that? So now, when you are doing this, are you not trying to further undermine the public trust in the police? But when you go through the law, both the penal code and the
criminal code,
Section 51, and in the criminal code and the penal code 133.
Okay.
It is a criminal offense if the police as an institution has not been enforcing it. Then this is the time. He was talking about what is happening over there. See, you can do anything if you bring the authorities into what you are doing. If they are comfortable with it, they give you the go ahead to do it.
Okay.
You understand me? You said VDM
should he be treated differently?
It should be, because you described him as a controversial content creator. How do you vouch for somebody with a controversial, antecedent? You get what I'm saying? Okay. So today, he didn't say something
negative. You think he should have
negative.
sought permission from the police?
That is what I'm saying. You can use this, but keep the authorities in the know. When they are comfortable with what you say, go ahead.
Okay.
You say, but today, I wear police uniform and I started, collecting bribes on the road. Believe me, people will laugh, people will clap, but it's not good for our country.
All right. Right about now, we have Babajide Kolade Otitoju joining us via Zoom. BKO, happy Sunday to you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you pristine clear.
All right, so BKO, let's looking at this issue of VDM. For those who say that, don't look at the messenger, look at the message. Should VDM be treated differently here? What are your thoughts on this one?
Why should it be treated differently? Why? You see, impunity works majestically on two legs in our country because we do not apply the law the right way. We do not apply the law as dictated by the letters of our body of laws. The Constitution says clearly, or the Penal Code says clearly, that this is a consequence of doing this. Then it makes sense to apply the law in an even-handed fashion, no matter whose ox is God. Or if you say because BDM is a fighter for our people, therefore, if he slaps the president, nobody should raise any eyebrow. Then we don't know what we are doing. There's no country. No country is run like that, except a country that is already going downhill and is not prepared to stop until it gets to the bottom of the hill. You have no rights under the law to wear the police uniform without being permitted to use it. People do movies meant to change the society. People do skits with the desire to impart knowledge, with the desire to change the society or drive home a particular point. And they feel the need to use the uniform of our security operatives. They ask for permission. Sometimes the police will even yield their barracks to shoot a movie that they know will have a very good impact on our people. But getting the police uniform illegally, putting it on, calling yourself an investigative policeman, and making the point that unlike the police that are very slow in investigation, you are going to do your job diligently and without wasting time. That is very disrespectful to the police. And I think VDM as an individual needs to be told the difference between right and wrong.
Okay.
Because there are some things he does that are really not good enough. He's a young man coming up. He has his good sides, but we are beginning to see some of his bad sides. A man who goes on to record stuff and slandering people in the process and saying, no, it didn't come from me, I didn't originate it. That is a man completely ignorant of the libel law.
Okay.
There are some things that he needs to be told that are wrong.
All right,
if
then.
we do not tell him the truth,
Okay.
then we are not helping him.
We are not helping him. All right, but we're pressed for time. But another area is, will this not be discouraging other online creators who might want to use an avenue to maybe promote the police? What do you think?
No, it will not.
It will not.
It will not. In films, movies, all of this, I said something. If you know you want to do,
Seek permission.
you can. It's very easy. People who are in the police force are not animals. They are human beings.
They are human beings,
content
exactly.
creators. And look at the statement from the police that this is not meant to stifle the creativity, in the content creation space. But you do things within the law. Nobody's trying to stifle anybody. No. But what is proper is proper. In this case, it is not proper. And you need to make a very bold statement so that others, let the message cascade. The police should act.
Exactly.
Yeah. Recently, was it last year or 2 years ago, the Actors Guild of Nigeria made a movie about the military. And that movie, they collaborated with Nigerian Army. The Nigerian Army provided with uniform, the war uniform. I've watched. I was invited to the premiere of that movie in Abuja.
Okay.
The war uniform up to the rank of generals and rest of them.
Okay.
Even vehicles and logistics. The army provided them with that, and that movie it has to do with banditry.
All right.
So I feel then just finally, even the Nigeria police. Do you know that they have ambassadors?
Yeah.
You remember Korode Bello?
Yes.
Korode Bello was an ambassador of Nigerian police and was given a uniform with 1 star. So if you really want to be, in fact, there was a time that we were even told that Portable was going to be.
That's not
no, I'm just telling you. So based on what he's doing, which is his job, he wants to be an ambassador of the police. Of course, he can go to the police and he can be made a spy. That is what is called the spy within the police, this thing. And they'll be giving you.
Exactly. All right, let's move straight to our next conversation. It was an all-out celebration at the Federal University Lokoja in Kogi State, North Central Nigeria, when the institution held its 8th convocation ceremony. At the event, a total of 2,196 students bagged degrees in various disciplines. The Vice-Chancellor, Professor Olayemi Akinwumi, announced that Blessing Mohammed bagged the Maiden Journalist Hangout Award for Best Graduating Students in Mass Communications. Let's share the story by TVC News. Michael, with you.
A total of 2,196 undergraduate, diploma, and postgraduate students were awarded various degrees across different fields of study. Delivering his address, Vice-Chancellor of the University, Professor Olayemi Akinwumi, said since the last convocation held in October last year, the university had made strides in various areas. On his part, Pro-Chancellor of the university, Victor Ndoma Eba, tasked the graduates to take on their roles in society with integrity and commitment. Major highlights of the ceremony was the conferment of honorary degrees on distinguished individuals, with special recognition accorded students who excelled across various disciplines. One of the shining students was Blessing Mohammed, who bagged the Journalist Hangout Prize for Best Graduating Student in Mass Communication. As the graduates prepare to step into the new phase of their lives, they recount the values instilled in them and their resolve to contribute positively to society. Recipients of honorary doctorate degrees say they were even more inspired to make a lasting impact across board.
It's education. One of the most important things that we celebrate today is education. And this is a very traditional, good university that has produced over 2,100 graduates today. So we're here to celebrate them.
I want to advise you that if you do anything that is right, keep at it. You don't sing your praise, someone is noticing out there, and definitely you will be rewarded. Give glory to God for this award. It has overwhelmed me. It's even greater to me than my PhD.
With Nigeria facing a shortage of white-collar jobs, the graduates have been urged to develop competitive skills that will make them valuable in today's society. Michael Ila, TVC News, Lokoja.
All right, beautiful report, and a big congratulations to the students who graduated, and most especially to the maiden edition, the Maiden Journalist Hangout Prize for the best students in mass communication. BKO, talk to me. What's the idea behind this recognition?
Well, it's part of our desire to celebrate excellence. After 10 years as a popular TV program in our country, we think that it makes sense to begin to give back to the society.
Sure.
And for people like Blessing, we are still going to celebrate her because this story has not celebrated her, in my view. And we won't let this just slide. There are people out there who simply become famous for exposing their body parts. But there are students who are diligent, who are responsible, who show excellence in everything that they do. Blessing Khadijat is the maiden winner of the Journalist Hangout Prize for Best Student in Mass Communication, Best Graduating Student in Mass Communication. There is another prize that will kick off next year, which is for Best Investigative, Best Student in her course of study within mass communication, which is investigative reporting. So that will also happen. Blessing came away with C GPA of 4.27.
Wow.
Which is tremendous. Which is really, really tremendous. And this is a star that has to be uncorked slowly. I believe that the future is bright for her. So TV stations need to give back to the society in the best way that they can. I'm sure that the competition will become stiffer now, because Blessing will come away with 250,000 naira.
That's good.
And which I'm sure will make a lot of our colleagues to work harder, to ensure that they too win this prize next year when they have their 9th convocation. But the Kogi State, the Federal University of Lokoja has been showing tremendous progress under the leadership of the great Nigerian historian, Professor Olayemi Akinwumi. He met the university in a state that clearly showed that progress was needed, and he found a way to make real progress happen. In fact, when I was looking at some of his achievements, I saw that the population of the students grew from 6,000 to 17,000, all this within 3 years. The number of professors grew from 24, that is 21 male and 3 female, to 68, made up of 59 males and 9 female. Inaugural lectures held at the school grew from 2 to 20, with 10 public lectures organized between 2021 and 2024. The faculties also grew from 4 to 16 under the able leadership of Professor Olayemi Akinwumi, fantastic academic and pride of Ekeneade. So wherever we see people making progress, it is our duty as journalists to encourage them, not simply by singing their praises, but highlighting the good things that they've done. Professor Olayemi Akinwumi has done a tremendous job at Federal University, Lokoja, and that's why he's getting all the support. About 3 years ago, when I went to that school, they didn't have, their roads were not tarred. They didn't have electricity supply. In fact, once it's 6 o'clock, everybody leaves the school so that they don't fall victim of bandits, because they are surrounded, the school is surrounded by thick forest, and there was no perimeter fencing around the school. But you need to go to that school now. It's the difference between the time that he took over and now is like night and day, and I'm really, really proud of him.
All right, let's bring it away from the school, but talking about the Maiden Journalist Hangout Prize for Best Student in Mass Communication. Now, for mass communication students, probably listening or watching right now, and they also want to be, and I believe I'm on the table of veteran journalists, and they also want to become brilliant journalists like yourself and yours, and also like BKO, what would you tell them?
Well, first and foremost, I need to congratulate Journalist Hangouts for the prize. It's very motivational for me. Very. I've seen this done in other schools, by other institutions and individuals, but I would think that this is the first time a television program of this nature is doing this. I don't know of any recognizing it, and so that is very good. The second one is also this university, for the first time, although I've heard of it, for the first time, I saw their gate last week on my way from Abuja. When I was saying to it's just on the road, just after Lokoja, and it's so beautiful a place. I didn't even know that just about 3 years, according to what BK is saying. But coming back to the issue at stake, first and foremost, anybody that wants to make a mark in this, first and foremost, get to know that this is not an industry where you become a billionaire.
It's a thankless job.
It is a thankless job. It is strictly driven by passion and professionalism.
Okay.
Because if it's about money, most of us would have dropped our pen and have gone somewhere else. My brother knows what I'm talking about. In fact, at the time they start equating journalists with teachers and saying that our reward is in heaven. I don't want to receive my own in heaven. I want to get my own here. It's not allowed because most of what they know, people don't know. And you know the most annoying part of it? Everybody bashes journalists. If there's a problem, politicians have a problem. The next day they'll say, oh, it's the journalists that caused it. If the other they say, oh, we are misquoted by journalists and rest. That in itself discourages. But that does not mean that we cannot do or we should not do what we ought to do. So anybody who wants to come into this profession, I will tell him that if it's money that is your motivation, go to the bank, go to the oil sector. Whatever. But if it's the passion for the job, professionalism, you can get fame. If I remember that there are some media house owners in this country who have private jets, I'm telling you for free. And it's a fact, you know what I'm talking about. There are some that are making money, but not very, very few. So that is my own. But journalism is a very, very noble profession.
Very noble.
Very noble. There have been instances that have been out of this country as I'm just walking into JFK or even Heathrow and somebody just say, oh, CKN, please. There have been instances that I've walked in somewhere abroad and somebody just say, oh, CKN, oh, you came, you are around, you are saying, and the guy just depended some money. I gave me something. And I said, just like that. He said, thank you very much. We like what you are doing.
For
the work you do. Don't think that people are not watching. People are watching. People are listening. So that is my own. For the students of the, there's going to be, there was a time that they said they're going to redesign the curriculum from mass communication, that they're going to break it down to all from, because mass communication is a very, very important. It includes print, it includes broadcast. They want to unbundle it. I don't know whether that has been done, but let them be focused. It's a job you love. It's a job that will bring you fame. It's a job that if you work so hard and God bless you, make money. But if it's the sole aim, I'll repeat it. If it's the sole aim, it's for you to make millions. Please do a rethink.
All right. What are your thoughts here?
Yeah, I think I'm happy, and I will be happier if the focus is on
the passion,
the award winner.
Okay, the award.
The reporter didn't get to speak to her, and I would have loved her to talk.
Well, just,
how she got to that stage,
to that level.
The challenges she faced, and all of that. Because studying mass communication is a popular thing now in the Nigerian university.
True.
Any university that doesn't have that program, it's like it's not, on top. And studying it is not easy. I remember my time in University of Lagos. Right from day one, it's about deadline, and you miss even 1 minute to the class, you can't come in. And regardless of where you live, whether it's traffic, is this or that, or you have to submit your assignment by 2 p.m. At that time, no computers. You needed to go to the mama typist.
Yeah, exactly.
And you didn't control that. And if you didn't type your assignment, God, they won't take handwritten, stuff from you. You need to, type it out. And if you miss that time by 1 minute, they'll say, oh, that's a gift for you. So for you to navigate all those challenges and still come on top with that kind of grade, I think it shows something extra. It's embedded in you. And it should be encouraged. I would be happier if it is not limited to
mass com alone.
No, to that university alone.
Okay, to other
when you look at the universities, offering mass communication in Nigeria, the polytechnics offering mass communication in Nigeria, So we encourage the management to
one step at a time.
to take another look about this.
I will suggest that other organizations
should also do such.
There's no way we can be able to give awards to
everybody.
So what we've laid the foundation, let others also follow suit.
All right then, thank you very much, gentlemen. Yes, it's a thankless job, but let's move straight to the next conversation. The good news resonating with the people of Kogi State now is the coming of an airport. The Federal Ministry of Aviation and Aerospace Development has approved the bid by the state government to build an international airport in Zariagi community. The State Commissioner for Information and Communications, Kingsley Fowle, acknowledged the approval that was conveyed in a letter from the ministry. The Commissioner stressed that the administration of Governor Usman Ododo is committed to the timely completion of the project. He added that an airport in the state would serve 10 other states and reduce traffic on the Lokoja-Abuja Road, as well as decongest traffic at the international airport in Abuja. All right, Biko, I'll start with you here. What is the significance of building an airport in Kogi State? I need your thoughts on that.
You know, when I had that exclusive interview with the governor, he told me that building an airport was his priority. Today, there are two big cement companies in Kogi, one in Iluagba, that is a community close to Dino Milai's hometown of Aitorugbede, where Joseph Olubiyo, our own Joseph Olubiyo, my executive assistant, wedded yesterday. And there is another one, the biggest in this part of the world, owned by Dangote in Obajana community. Obajana community is outside Lokoja, the state capital, and is part of Lokoja local government. Now, with the coming of these two big companies, you see business, generally the economy of Kogi has experienced a tremendous boost. But what the governor thinks is, like, Kogi is surrounded, Kogi shares boundaries with 10 states when you add the FCT. Some of these communities is just like Lagos now. Lagos wants an airport in the Lekki area. That will serve people living in Ekpe, the Lekki area and all of those places. They don't need to land at Ikeja, because they will then start a journey. And if they are caught up in traffic, they will then be arguing, talking about the fact that Abuja is about 10 hours by road. It took them 1 hour or 55 minutes to get to Lagos from Abuja. But moving from the airport, from Ikeja airport to Lekki or to Ekpe, has taken them 2-3 hours. So the governor thinks that some of these neighboring states, including Benue, even Anambra, Enugu, all of these states share boundary with Kogi State. So for people going to their respective communities in the hinterland, you don't have to land in Abuja. If you land in Kogi, you then begin to move from the airport in Kogi State to your community. So people of Kogi East, for example, will benefit a lot. Because traveling all the way from Abuja, the travel time is tremendous. But if you have an airport close to your community, is a major boost. This was one of the reasons many people thought that the airport in Ekiti will help, especially parents coming to see their children at their universities like Afebola University, for example. They were thinking that a lot of the people flying into Ekiti will be students of Afebola University, because the airport is even located along the way to their school. When you look at the condition of airports in our country, a good number of those airports are not viable. But states that are strong in agriculture, if they have a very good plan, those cargo airports can then be the airports from where they can export produce. Okay. I've talked in the past about airports in Ethiopia, located in very rural areas of Ethiopia. They call them aeropolis. From those airports, directly from those airports, they are exporting flowers. Ethiopia is one of the biggest producers of flowers in the world. Okay. They are producing fresh flowers and sending them to Europe and America from those rural communities that are big flower production belts of their country, producing tomatoes, fresh tomatoes, and exporting them from those airports, those cargo airports located in the rural communities. If our governors would take agriculture seriously and create what the Ethiopians have used successfully, that will help us to boost our economy. Look at a country like Kenya. The bulk of their foreign exchange is from tea. They grow tea a lot. We are also capable of growing tea in Nigeria and the Mambila area, but what have we done with that opportunity? So I am not thinking that Kogi will make so much money from passenger traffic. I think that they should be looking at
agro-cargo,
exporting, exporting agro-cargo from this cargo airport that they are building. That is the difference maker. That is where the money will come from, not really from passenger traffic.
All right, TK, many states in Nigeria now want to have airports. Now, they've talked about that of Kogi State, and also because it borders 10 states. But what is the economic advantage for state governors who I just want to have an airport? What is the economic advantage of having an airport in the state?
Let me first and foremost congratulate the people of Kogi State.
Yes.
And it's good that you asked BKO, who is the son of Kogi State,
yeah, exactly,
to give us, to analyze for us the benefits of such an airport, which he has done. But I have my total reservation about every state wanting to build an airport. Because, to me, it's a total misplacement of priority. The cost of building an airport is very enormous. The federal government, through the FAN and the SCA and some other agencies, recently came up with a report that there are only, out of about 18 or 22 airports that we have, that only 3 are viable. Lagos, Abuja, I think Port Harcourt, or Canada, I don't know if you're, but every other one, they are not viable. That is one. 2, I've known so many governors that also want to believe that, oh, there is need for us to have a port. And let me give a classical example. About two years ago, the Ebonyi State governor, current Minister of Works, built what he called one of the biggest airports in Abakaliki in Ebonyi State. It was heralded with a lot of fanfare and the rest of them. Go and check out today whether any plane is flying to that state, with billions and billions of naira that are. The governor of Ekiti State, former governor, sorry, what's his name? Ayemi. In the tweet end of his leaving office, what I would say was deceive Nigerians or deceive Ekiti people, and got a chopper to land in Ekiti, and told us that an airport was built. Go there and check today whether that airport is. We are talking of Kogi. Every state, practically all the states surrounding Kogi, have one airport. In those states, there's an airport in Akure. How well is this being utilized? In Benue, there's an airport in Benue. They might use that. I think the Air Force, this thing. In Anambra State, there's an airport in Anambra State that is the Aguleri area. So what I'm saying in essence is that, for me, that shouldn't be a priority. But the governor knows better. He knows his terrain, and just like Biko said, for goodness sake, when you are building an airport, what is essence? The agro we are talking about, is it the same agriculture that, as of now, due to insecurity, people are not going to the farm? If you get what I'm saying, a one-way ticket in Nigeria now, one-way ticket, 1 hour ticket is going to about 200,000 naira. How many people can afford it? So, but as I said, I wish people of Kogi State, even the one in my state of Imo, that you say that is a bit, was built by our people. You will see that as far as once it's about 5-6 p.m., that airport closes. There are some airports in Nigeria that had only one flight each day, or even one in every 2 days or 3 days. So I thought, and I believe that money can be put into areas that can be of more benefits to the people. If we invest seriously on agriculture, part of the problem we're having currently now is hunger. I know Kogi very well. I know that Kogi is bothered by so many. I know that they have the potential. In terms of mineral resources, there is no state in Nigeria that has the mineral resources that Kogi State have. But how we have explored, there is the Jakuta still. That if we have fully dealt with that issue today, Nigeria would have been a very giant in industrialization. But today, you still come out with so. That's my personal opinion. Okay. As I said, it is for the governor of Kogi State. He knows what is good for his people. Okay. But if you ask me, I don't think that the way of airport, because taking into consideration the other ones that we've had seen around, nothing viable.
What are your thoughts here? Out of 22, they said just 3. But the advantage here in Kogi State, it borders 10 states, and because of that, they need to situate it there. But the economic advantage here of having an airport in the state, your thoughts here?
What is already a final decision by the state government, and I'm sure the governor is an accountant. I don't think he will be one of those that will just wake up. You know, accountants always... No, I think when you see the way an accountant thinks and behaves, you know that their training always, impacts whatever they do. So I want to take it from that angle. Kogi will benefit heavily from it. The aspect of commercial viability that he's talking about, they should think, in that direction too, because virtually all the states that have gone this route in the past, they also said the same thing to make a case for what they plan to do. If you go to Jigawa today, during Sule Lamido, the airport was fine, but today you can't fly there. The airport is moribund. You have to land the canoe and transport yourself. I was in Kano recently. I went to Jigawa recently. I needed to land the canoe because the airport here is. So who are the operators? Who are the airlines flying to Jigawa? So not only Jigawa, I've just mentioned that there are many, many other ones, and virtually every state government in Nigeria want to do it. Believe me, it's not a bad thing to build an airport. People should have that. But we should consider this giant infrastructure within the level of our development aspiration. Okay. There are so many other things competing for attention, and the limited resources, we have to put all these factors together, because when you build the airport, that's just the stage 1. Okay. Stage 2 is commercial viability. If it is not commercially viable, we've been saying this for a very long time. Okay. I see many of the airlines, you see the state government, we have to say, okay, let's go into a deal. Fly once daily or 2 times daily, or something. That don't bother. Whatever the spaces, unoccupied in your flight, the state government will pay. They come up with all sorts of, but these things really work. I'm not saying one.
Just a second, to round up on this. As I said, it's not, if you're able to do your research very well, there's a state that is doing well in aviation, more than federal. You know the state? Akwa State. That's Ibome. And we've seen how we started with Governor Udom.
Yes.
And he handed over to the current governor, Eno. And they are doing very well. They added so many planes to their district.
Some states are copying that now.
So what I'm saying is that if you think you have the roadmap and you have the wherewithal and you're able to achieve it, fine. But as I repeat, is that a priority?
Okay. All right, gentlemen, let's move straight to our next conversation. One of Nigeria's leading dailies, the Guardian newspaper, is under fire over some publications. The newspaper has been questioned over its recent publication over unrest in the country, which suggests a regime change. The special advisor to the president on information and strategy, Bayo Ononuga, said the newspaper must be questioned on how it could present an argument for military intervention while superficially denouncing it. All right, BKO, let me start with you here. How did we get here? You know, where a newspaper of repute will allegedly encourage military intervention. BKO, how did we get here?
You see, there is hunger in the land, no doubt about it. There is anger as well. But as a newspaper, you can talk about what our people are going through. You can advise government about what steps to take to ease the pains on our people. We do it here. It is one country. It's the same market that we use. But it shouldn't always end in, oh, this is why Nigerians are talking about military rule. Who at this time, for example, today, who are the people actually asking for military rule? Who are the people asking for military rule? The people who are asking for military rule are not people who had witnessed military rule in our country. Some of us lost our friends. Some were jailed and became mad in prison. Ultimately, they lost their lives. Some of us were working for newspapers that the government of that era saw as dangerous, and they were taking steps indeed to take our lives. But it pleased God to still keep us alive. There is no reason why a publication will tacitly justify agitation for military rule, especially at a time when clearly the agitation has come down. There were agitations before the inauguration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu as president. Some people even went to the defense headquarters to ask for military rule. Then, during the August protests, because that's how I choose to describe it, August protests, not nationwide protests, because more than a third of the states of our country didn't take part in it. So I won't call it nationwide protest because I'm not an ignorant person. August protest. During the August protest, some people asked for military rule. Some even said, oh, Russia, come and help us in Nigeria. So at this time when that editorial came, people were really not asking for military rule, at least not many people. Military rule usually takes away our people's freedom. What newspaper houses should be doing is to enlighten our people and tell them that military rule is a no-no. all the freedoms you enjoy now will go. There's no military ruler that will allow you to use TikTok, to use Facebook or other social media outlets to abuse him. We abuse the president today, we get away with it. We abuse political leaders and get away. Military rulers will not permit that. You are playing with your life if you abuse a military ruler. We've seen journalists in our country. A journalist published a story, a negative story, on the birthday of a military ruler, and he ordered that his head should be shaved with a
broken
bottle. Broken in this country. I lost my colleague, Bagauda Kanto. He was running away from them. Eventually, they got him. They wasted him. We didn't see his remains. So I pity people who were in their diapers when the military were running this country. Even the military on their own, they don't even want military rule because they lost some of their brightest colleagues to military politics, fake coup d'etats, took people's lives. So we shouldn't why look at what happened in Kenya. People protested. They didn't ask for military rule. And they protested more than us. They were very organized. They set aside days for their protest. But nobody in Kenya was calling for military rule. All they wanted was for things to get better within the structure of democratic rule.
Okay.
You cannot condemn military rule tactically and indirectly try to justify why some people are clamoring for it. Come on. This is a problem.
Okay.
Newspapers should also not abuse the freedom that they enjoy. Look at the other day, we were on this program with Adekunle when we analyzed a newspaper that lied against the government about one someone, whatever. So I can understand why Ononuga is angry, because we don't know what we are pushing for. Some of these things may never end up the way we want. It has not ended up in Sudan the way people wanted. You can see now they've not had peace for years now. So people should be careful.
Okay.
If a government is not doing what Nigerians want, let them remove that government from office through the ballot box, not through the instrumentality of the military rule. No.
Okay. All right. Now, looking at this, are there sanctions, basically, for journalists who fail to adhere to the principle of responsible reporting?
There are. But on this point, you need to establish first, because I'm not going to go with the position that because the government said this, and that's what I'm going to do. You need to read the report.
Are you holding?
I don't believe that the editorial was calling for military rule.
Tell me, what are you...
And I think I'm educated enough, and I practice this profession, and distinguish myself enough to know. You see, those who work in the newspapers are human beings.
Okay.
They are not infallible. They can make mistakes.
Okay.
Those who are in government, they always make mistakes too. So, but in this, read it. You can give it, semantics. You can give it your interpretation. First of all, we need to take it. Nigeria is not Niger. Nobody, but in the Nigerian military, can't do any. We follow Nigeria. It's not going to happen. Nigeria, we've gone beyond that military rule in Nigeria. We will listen to them. We are far beyond that level. We are not all these Nigeria, all these countries. Anybody that is still talking about military rule, I don't know. Maybe they don't know what they are saying, but certainly not in our country anymore. So go back to the report. I don't see.
But what do you make out of that?
I do not believe and I'm saying it strongly, that report is inciting, or calling for military rule. You may disagree with one person or the other. See, when you have complaints about a report, fine, that is still okay, and I commend them. But do you know, all the newspapers in Nigeria cannot bring military rule to Nigeria. Nigerians are too enlightened. See, the era of always lying to us that we are here to correct or change. No, there is no messiah in any military. We know that already. That's not negotiable. So today, if a newspaper makes a mistake, how many people read the editorial? By the action of the government, you've made many more people to go and read it. What's the readership, size of the Guardian? Now, go back to that report, that editorial. So, I'm not going to go into a big debate. What I'm most concerned here is that report. If you have any issue, write to them. But the truth is that government needs to be more tolerant. Yes.
To criticism.
This is democracy.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
But because the newspaper is always talking about hardship. If you don't like that, there are several other newspapers that will not discuss the hardship. You see, in a democracy, not everybody will look into one direction.
Okay.
So you see several voices.
All right. So in other words, your position is the story there was not inciting, your opinion.
It is not inciting.
In your opinion. All right, CKN, your thoughts on this one?
First and foremost, we have to establish something for the benefit of those watching us as journalists.
Okay.
In journalism, there are three basic elements in a story or reports, especially when it comes to newspaper or even broadcasting. There is what we call opinion.
Okay.
There is editorial, and there is reportorial. I've taken my time to read the story by The Guardian. That story was written by one Eno Abasi Sunday. He's an individual. It is not editorial. Editorial is the policy statement of the media house.
Exactly.
What we have, that story was the story. It was a reportorial. And I took my time. That story was the caption was call for military intervention, misery, harsh policies driving Nigerians to desperate choices. And I've read through time and time. I've read about 3 times. If you read that story, the person that wrote the story said that military rule is the worst system of government, and that Nigeria, successful military rule in Nigeria, have not done anything good. I'm supporting what he's talking about. That was in that story. Then he now went and they interviewed about 5-6 different people, including scholars, even including my own former lecturer at Lee City University, in the person of Professor Ojedokun. And they were given reason why military rule is an aberration. But that report was based on the statement made by the defense headquarters, reacting to the video made by certain individuals that military should take over. I'm sure you saw that video. So that was what. So most often than not, I don't always catch on when government talk. I always tell people, and I always tell my colleagues, go back and read. Don't base your opinion on what somebody. That is what journalism is all about, because it's supposed to balance it. So if you don't read the story, you may just catch on what the government has said. And just as he said, there is nowhere in that story where the reporter, and I'm telling you now, it's not an editorial. That is not the editorial of Guardian newspaper. It was a report written by, I said it, Eno Abasi Sunday. And it was saying Nigerians, where people are saying, oh, some people are calling for military, oh, they are hungry, they are this, and they are that, and this. That people are just going, but if you look at it, at the end of it all, there's nowhere that the Guardian said the military should. So we should be very, very careful.
Okay.
So those are my own personal opinion. Let us try to educate people. If the Guardian comes out and take that as an editorial,
they write
it. You see it, editorial. That editorial is the statement of guidance as an. It's just like TVC. TVC can have an editorial. That is their own. That is, we are talking about TVC as a corporation. That is their own. But if you as a reporter go and do a report, that is a report based on what or is an opinion. Anybody can write an opinion. So, but the fact remains that, just as he said, military rule is an aberration. We have gone through journey since 1999.
Okay.
It will be difficult for anybody to talk about military. It is not. Nigerians will not even accept it.
Okay.
Right.
All right. Hold on. Hold on, gentlemen. I just want, just in 1 minute, BKO, I just want your opinion on what the two colleagues have said here. Just your opinion, just in 1 minute, if we can do that.
You see, we have to be very careful the way we bring our emotions, as journalists, the way we bring our emotions into what we write. Whether it's an individual writing an editorial or the newspaper writing an editorial, or an individual writing an opinion or newspaper writing an editorial, predicting that in the next few days, regime change will be what will be on the lips of people, and that even though military rule is not good, people will continue to call for military rule. Yes, that may happen. But the point that I'm making is we need to focus more on letting people know, especially people who are not born when some of us were practicing this profession and we almost paid with our lives. We need to let them know that those choices are meaningless choices. I think the Guardian made that point that the choice of military rule was a wrong one. But the point that it was making was that the point I made was that in the coming days, more and more people will be asking for military rule.
Okay.
I agree that there was an overreaction on the part of Ononuga, my boss. But my own issue is, at this time, people are not really talking about military rule.
Okay.
And if the evidence is there, some time ago, people were, but at this time, people are not really talking about it. So how are we coming to predict that, more and more people, at this time, nobody's talking about it.
All right, BKO. All right, then.
With the people in government do not reason the way we reason. That is one part. They do not reason the way we reason. They're always under pressure.
All right, then. All right, then. All right, let's move straight to our next conversation. It is said that no matter what kind of karma you gathered in the past, this moment's karma is always in your hands. Judgment Day beckons for some bandits as the Minister of Defense, Abubakar Badaru, has directed troops of Operation Fasanyama to capture notorious bandit leader Bello Turji. Addressing troops in Gusau, Zamfara State, the minister highlighted that President Bola Tinubu is monitoring activities over the past few months and noted some improvements in operations against terrorism in the region. Badaru expressed confidence in the troops' capabilities and called for decisive effort to apprehend Turji. All right, let me start with you, CKN.
BK is an expert. Let BK start this.
All right, let me start. Okay, let me start with BK. Let me start with BK. All right, BK.
Follow him.
BK. Looking at that word, get me Bello Turji. Is this some sort of a morale booster here?
I have said before that Bello Turji is not the most dangerous bandit around. Dan Keremi, who rules in the Zurumi area of Zamfara State, is by far more dangerous and kills far more people than Bello Turji. But because Bello Turji lately has been shooting videos, trying to talk like Shekau used to do and all that, and intimidating soldiers, we have then come to see him as the bandit that we need to take out. There are more than 30 bandit leaders. There is Ado Halero and his brother who control the Safe area of Zamfara. Safe shares boundary with Kaduna State. All of the terrible things happening in that area is Ado Halero and his brother who are behind this. They stop people on the highway, they kidnap people, even the road project that is going on, the Funtua Road project, they are constantly picking people up. There are other bandits more dangerous than Bello Tuji. This is a fact. The people, the security people know, they know I'm saying the truth. Dankremi has killed far more people. But we keep talking about Bello Tuji, and at the end you do not even see the results. If you take out Bello Tuji, the man who used to be the biggest bandit in Nigeria, he was taken out by Dogo Gide inside Dansadao forest. That's Buhari Ndaji. Buhari Ndaji, if you see a picture of the former governor of Katsina State, when he went to beg a bandit, and the bandit was clutching an AK-47 standing next to the governor, that was Buhari Ndaji. But he was taken out. Did banditry stop? It didn't stop. Taking out Bello Tuji will not stop banditry. You need a comprehensive plan that takes out these people. I've said repeatedly that we have to attack them simultaneously. It has to be a declaration of total war, blocking all the contiguous exit points. But we are not prepared to do that kind of operation. We are not prepared. If we keep doing piecemeal operation, let's go to Kaduna today, let's go and face this one today. They get information, they run away. You discover that the bandits are still there. And the plan, what is the plan on ground? That plan has to be clear to everyone. When the plan is clear, even the citizens, they will back the security agencies. They will do their best to make sure that these people solve. But you can't even talk about a concrete plan that is on ground, designed to help us defeat banditry. You can't talk about a concrete plan. That is my problem. There has to be a strategy that works. If we have used a particular strategy over time and it's not working, we need to come up with a fresh strategy that will be very, very wholesome, in which these guys will realize that there is no escape for them. We have more than 30,000 bandits, between Zamfara and Katsina alone. So how do we deal with the situation?
Okay. All right. Over the years, we've tried different strategies. Huge monies have been spent just in the fight against insecurity, insurgency, and all kinds of it. Where are we getting it wrong?
We are getting it wrong because we're not ready yet.
What do you mean by we are not ready?
Okay. What manner of country comes out? Go after somebody who has been in the criminal space for a long time. Why do you reveal your strategy, if at all that is what you want to do?
Are you calling for a media blackout when it comes
I'm not only... The authorities will need to search their conscience. The bandits, terrorism, all of them put together, the Nigerian military can finish everything in less than 3 months. But the elites, we need to be ready. I always buy, Elfa has said this many times, and that's what, Jide just said now. Look, you can't concentrate on Zamfara when there are several other states that can absorb them. Everywhere at the same time, make Nigeria, impossible for them. It's either you quit or you pay the price. But when you are fighting the bandits in Sokoto State, they pack their their load and move to neighboring Zamfara. Or later, you are talking about Kaduna, they come to Niger. Or so, they move to Kogi. No,
but we know that asymmetric warfare is...
We know, no. That's not what we are saying. We are saying that if you want to put our hand to this, we have enough military capability to do it. The Nigerian military will finish everything in less than 3 months.
Then what is stopping them?
Who runs, the show? The military, the political elite, all of them, they govern the space together. Believe me, why are your political elite holding meetings with criminals? Because I called bandits criminals. Why are they all the time they are doing what they call when you said you renounce bandits, and they hold it, and you see a sitting governor taking picture with bandits. See, the way we run Nigeria is certainly not the best. If we don't want insurgency in Nigeria, we don't want banditry, we don't want all these things in Nigeria, it takes the Nigerian military, it takes them less than 3 months. You won't hear anything again. But we need to, those who are sympathetic, we still have people who are sympathetic. It is not there. It is not there. I was in Maduguru recently, and I meet ordinary folks, and I was talking to them. The way they were talking about Boko Haram is the way we are seeing it. They say, no, government is their own Boko Haram. I said, come on. They said, that the government, loves to take care of Boko Haram people, all the victims of Boko Haram. The government doesn't care. I said, no, it's not true. They said, but we are the ones here. So we need to take a decision. What do we want in our country? What do we really want?
Okay. CKN, what is the best way to cushion it? BK has talked about constant military, military intervention, military bombardment.
And not piecemeal approach they've been using,
Okay, not piecemeal approach. But what do you think? Should a different strategy? It's an asymmetric warfare, remember?
Yes, just to support what you said. I spoke to somebody top in the military sometime last week, and this issue came up. And I was asking, why is it that we're not getting this done? And he says, CKN, this is not like your conventional war. It's a different war. It's a different game entirely. It's not the one that you are pulling and you see the other people are calling, and that is why you see Nigeria make so much wave in other countries, and even in civil war. You saw what they did in Liberia, what they did in Sierra Leone, they did in Sierra Leone and the rest. This is an unconventional war. So it takes more than that is one. Two, Nigerians are also involved. When you talk of going against these bandits, most of the time, what most people don't know that most of these guys also use Nigerians as shield, human shield.
Okay.
It is the same word that we go when the military goes and bomb a particular place. We say they have killed so many Nigerians. Why do we do diligence? I believe that the military can go further than they are doing, just as BK said. But on top of that, intelligence gathering.
How intelligent is our intelligence?
I'm not a military man. You're asking me how is it? Am I a journalist? You are asking me how intelligent. No, wait now. I'm just telling you. For goodness sake, there are so many things that the military knows that I don't know. They should know better. But the fact remains is that, are we investing so much in intelligence? Because you have to know that our military have the capability. Let me tell you. Why is it that the police, for instance, if the police wants to do their job, no matter where you are in this country,
they'll get you.
They'll pick you up.
True.
If you like, there are instances that people think that by committing a crime, once they remove the SIM, they throw away the SIM.
What?
I've seen the Nigerian police trace somebody.
Super efficient.
Nigerian police are one of the highest level of intelligence in all the military security agencies in Nigeria. But the fact is that, are they giving them the political will? Let me tell you the third one, which we also mentioned. There have been instances that the morale of our soldiers are even where they will go and catch most of these bandits and the rest of them. And you see the politicians will release them.
Yes.
You see them, they release them under the issue of amnesty. So
All right,
I totally agree with BKO that for us to be able to do it must be a concerted effort. That we don't need to, you don't take it from seeing that you face Zamfara. The man will run to Niger Republic.
Exactly.
Then you now run to Niger Republic, Niger State. You start going to Borno State. The military, if they decide, and we have the political will, for goodness sake, don't forget what happened to Anini. All that Buhari.
All right, gentlemen.
My friend, the IGP, where is Anini? Within 1 week.
Produce him.
All right, gentlemen, thank you very much. We need to move straight to another conversation. But remember, if you just joined us, it is still Journalist Hangout. I'm still here with Chris Kende Nwadu, Adekunle Yusuf, and BK is joining us via Zoom. Now let's move straight to our next conversation. The rise in prices of food in Nigeria has been traced to illegal activities of hoarders stockpiling newly harvested grains and causing artificial scarcity to drive up food inflation. At a town hall meeting in Kano, the Chief Executive Officer of the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Council, FCCPC, Tunji Bello, told stakeholders, including market leaders, farmers, transporters, and service providers, that investigations by the FCCP uncovered a pattern where certain merchants were hoarding grains to manipulate prices, further worsening the country's inflation crisis. Now let's share the story by TVC News' Ibrahim Isa with you.
Nigeria's ongoing economic crisis, worsened by rising fuel prices and dollar fluctuations, has been further complicated by the hoarding of essential food items, which is driving up inflation. The Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, FCCPC, is now focusing on curbing these menace, particularly in Kano, a key commercial center in northern Nigeria. At a town hall meeting, FCCPC leadership revealed that some traders and produce merchants are stockpiling new harvested grains to create artificial scarcity, and practice that has contributed significantly to food inflation. The meeting brought together industry captains, MSMEs, market leaders, farmers, and service providers to discuss solutions to these unwholesome practices which threaten both traders and consumers.
Essentially, the issue of unwholesome distortions in our markets in form of price fixing, price gouging, hoarding, among other anti-consumer practices. We are all concerned because we are all victims insofar we buy from the same markets.
Yes, the foreign currency has been floated. Yes, electricity bills have gone up, and of course, that goes along with other bills. But then there are also things that are man-made that we did to ourselves. And these are the issues that we have to look at and try to find solutions to. It's not Ashwaju that formed associations in the markets. And these associations sit down together and fix prices and decide that today a mudu of rice should cost so amount.
The event in Kano is part of a series of engagements the FCCPC has held in Lagos and Abuja, signaling its commitment to addressing the exploitation in Nigerian markets. With renewed oversight, the Commission aims to restore balance in the food supply chain and curb the unethical practices that continue to drive inflation.
All right, let's bring the conversation home. Okay, BKO, let's start with this. The issue of the FCCPC blaming hoarders for escalating food prices. How true is this?
You see, rising food prices are a function of many variables.
Okay.
Of course, the devaluation of our currency is a factor. Cost of transportation, the fact that the roads leading to the production belts for a lot of the produce are in a deplorable state. When the roads are terrible, it will be difficult to evacuate farmers' produce from those places. And when they are evacuated, you inevitably pay a lot more. So there are different factors. But the factors that they have talked about are also very true. I remember that when the Yobe state government moved against those buying up rice, they are buying up locally produced rice, buying them off the farmers. These middlemen will go into the farms, production, agri-production centers and buy up hundreds of bags of rice. They will then go and store. When the product is not in season, that is when they will begin to then sell. Of course, prices come down during the harvest season. But once these people buy up as many bags as possible from the farmers, right from their farms, a lot of what should come into the markets so that people can buy them at lower rates because it is harvest time, and during harvest time you have greater supply. You will find that they have deliberately mopped up those bags of rice, waiting for, I can't call that rainy day now, waiting for an auspicious time to then sell. Hoarding is a big factor. Remember what Kano did. Kano state government went into the biggest grains market in West Africa, the Dawano market in Kano. They went there and they were unlocking the warehouses. You say grains are hard to find, but these guys locked up hundreds of bags of rice in the warehouses. Government had to release them. Another factor is the fact that our currency is weak. People are now mopping up grains from Nigeria and taking them across the border. Whereas such categories of food, it is prohibited to sell them across the border. Some of those trailers that had loaded bags of rice and all that were intercepted. It took the intervention of the president for them to be released to them, to the owners. And what the president said was that as long as they are going to sell to Nigerians, you can release it to them. This was in Katsina State. So it's not a lie that people are also taking some steps that are worsening inflation. All those market groups telling women that you must sell, if you don't sell at this price. There was a story that the correspondent in Osun State filed. The woman was saying, look, if we sell lower than the price that they ordered us to sell, they will punish us. So these things are real. But government also needs to take some steps, like even zero VAT for produce, zero VAT for essential commodities would also help us lower prices. But look, let me say this. The cost of transportation, in spite of the fact that some people are using CNG-fired engines, they are actually refusing to bring down transportation costs. So we too are part of the problem. Yes, our governments are a big problem, but we Nigerians too are part of the problem. We don't love ourselves.
Okay. All right, then. We need to go on this quick break, gentlemen. And when we return, the conversation continues. It's still Journalist Hangout. Don't go anywhere.
GSM cable. Great quality, now with the new look.
Let's believe in ourselves. Let's have the right attitude. We've got all it takes to get there. I believe in Nigeria. Oh, yes, I believe. Nigeria, believe. Powered by.
All right, you're welcome back to the show. Still journalist Hangout. I still have Chris Kendo, Wanda Adekunle Yusuf, and BKO joining us via Zoom. All right, Adekunle Yusuf, let me start with you. Does the FCCPC, do they have the capacity as a body to monitor compliance, to fight against this hoarding and all? Do they have the capacity to monitor?
A big country like Nigeria, I doubt it. But they can make some, impact here and there.
They've been going around the country,
they can
meeting with stakeholders.
A little impact here and there. But they need to look deeper.
Look deeper?
Yes.
Into which area?
Okay, what are the causes of some of these things? I grew up to see a business opportunity in some of these things. In Yoruba, it is like that. You will see people buying palm oil during the time of glut. I'm talking about even illiterate people. Our mothers, they will keep when it is during the time of scarcity, when off season, they sell. They do it for cola nut, they do it for palm oil, they do it for many, many other products. But the situation of our country is different now. The real problem is the cost of energy.
Cost of energy?
Yes. It's one of the biggest problems. Jide talked about,
petrol.
Jide talked about the problems of Naira devaluation.
Okay, Naira devaluation.
It is a shame. Around Nigeria now, all the countries surrounding us. Before, if you go to any country, for example, Benin Republic, with 10,000 Naira, you literally need a bag to collect their money.
Exactly, you're a big boy.
The SEFA, if I get it right. Today, you take your 1,000 Naira to Benin Republic, your 1,000 Naira, you will be able to get up to 300 SEFA. You ask what has happened. That's massive. And don't forget, Nigeria has borders with all of these people, and many of these people are farming communities. So when they do their product, they just cross and sell. You talked about...
So in other words, it's just going to be minimum.
What is good. What
they're doing
is good, but we need more from the side of the government to be able to have impact.
More on the side of government. Your thoughts here? We're pressed for time.
Yes, for me, not just about hoarding. One of the major problems we have is insecurity.
Insecurity?
Yes. People are not going to the farm. People are not going to the farm, especially within the food basket states. You're talking of Benue, you're talking of, especially in the north. People are not going to the farm because they go there, they'll be kidnapped. They'll be killed by bandits. So we need to nip the issue of insecurity in the border. And that is why we've always said that no matter whatever we do, everything is tied to that. Yeah, we can talk about, yes, getting the products and bringing them, for goodness sake. You're talking of storage and hoarding. We don't have good storage facilities in Nigeria.
Okay.
So anybody that even package... Yes, now post-harvest, of course. You see tomatoes. People who harvest tomatoes.
So but he's talking about grains now.
I'm just talking about it's not just grain. I'm talking of food products generally. But ask yourself, the grain that the federal government released to the states recently, where are they?
All right, gentlemen. Thank you very much, gentlemen. We need to move straight to, I think, our final conversation today. Let's talk about power. The power sector continues to dominate the headlines due to poor services and continued collapse of the national grid. A report by Standard Bank in August showed that power supply struggles make the country lose about $26 billion annually. The national grid collapsed 3 times after that report. Now, joining us for more discussion on this issue is the MD CEO of the Association of Nigerian Electricity Distributors, ANED, Sunday Odunton. Sunday Odunton, thank you so much for joining us on Journalist Hangout.
Very much. Thank you.
Sunday Odunton, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, so let's start with the report by the Standard Bank in August that said that Nigeria loses $26 billion due to power issues. Yes, talk to us. What are the issues? What are the root causes of this?
Thank you very much. The first thing that we all need to understand is that there has been a neglect of the power sector by various successive governments in the last 50 years. I want us to also agree that whatever you failed to do in 1984 is 2024. So as a result of that, all the problems that we've been having over the years are cumulative. Number one is lack of investment. Number two is our failure to grow our power sector in accordance with our population. It's not about blaming anybody or any particular government, but it is about all of us. Because in the first instance, I mentioned another fora, I mentioned the 10-year period. As an example, between 1989 and 1999, Nigeria had 4 leaders, 4 heads of state. As in 1989, we had General Ibrahim Babangida, followed by Chief Nekon, followed by General Sani Abacha, followed by General Absalam Abubakar. 10-year period, among these 4 gentlemen, they did not build a single power plant. And Nigerian population grew massively in that period. Those are the problems. Today, we are roving between 4,500, 5,000, or 5,000. But the problem with that is that as of today, we need a minimum of 30,000 megawatts for those that are currently connected to the grid. So many villages are not connected to the grid. And for those that are connected to the grid, we need a minimum of 30,000 megawatts. How do we get there? The cost of producing electricity is not cheap. That's why I said we can look at failure of government, failure of operators, and failure of Nigerian people. Because even when this electricity is produced, people like stealing it right and left. We should not have failed to continue to appeal to our people. Energy theft is a major problem. Even when government have tried to at least do things as of today, I can say that electricity has improved in this country compared with 10 years ago when we started this privatization. So while we are not where we are supposed to be, I can also say that at least we've moved forward a bit. Look at Band A. Right now, that's a message to say we are inching towards 24-hour electricity. But people are not telling us, I don't want Band A. To come back to Band A. Because I don't want to pay for Band A. These are the issues. It's about investment.
All right, thank you.
Not so much about...
All right. So, CKN, let me also come to you. The grid collapsing 105 times in 10 years. If you're to propose a solution, how do we get out of this?
Let's leave how it collapsed in the past 10 years and concentrate what's happened in the last few months.
In the last few months?
This year alone.
Let us
this year alone.
Because what we started saying 10 years is too far. We had system collapse 3 times within 2 days or 1 week. It has never happened in the history of Nigeria. But let me just take us a bit back. And that's why I don't want to go back 10 years. In 2015, 2014, 2015, when the APC was campaigning for election, I remember that President Buhari told Nigerians that he will add 10,000 megawatts into the system every year. 10,000 megawatts. That was what he promised Nigerians. In 8 years, you know how much that would have come to? That is 80,000
megawatts.
But when Buhari was living in 2023, we are still within 4,000 megawatts. Then you ask yourself, what was the problem? I know that we have issues in the past, the issue of cement, the issue of all the rot. But you ask yourself, how do we find ourselves here? A country of over 200 million people. And he is talking about, there have been improvement in the past, this thing, and those in Bandi. How many people are in Bandi in Nigeria? Most of our, that is it. Most of our rural areas are not, even the cities are not connected. And you continue to ask yourself, a country like South Africa, of probably less than 80 million people, even with what they have, which is close to about 40 or 50,000, they are still crying that they don't have enough. They don't have enough. So anybody coming to tell us that, oh, now we are not. The fact remains that, first of all, we made a mistake when we saw this goes to people that know next to nothing about electricity. And they just said it to the OK boys. Today, they cannot be able to add. They are not even putting any money to be able to prove it. Now we have three, just as a roundup. Three. We have the issue of generation, transmission, and distribution. Ask yourself, each of those three, where have we improved? Most of the equipment we are using are equipment that were installed as far back as 1960. What have they done to be able to improve?
Now, you talk about equipment. Let me go to BKO right now. BKO, many Nigerians thought the Siemens deal was supposed to solve this issue. I want to have your thoughts on that. Why has it not worked? Why are we still in this situation?
You've asked me this question before, and I told you that Siemens is not equipped for the job that was offered. So they do not have a record in service delivery in this power sector. That is not the fact that you are capable of making solid equipment, does not mean that they should give you a job to do in the power sector. You must put round pegs in round holes. I said it at that time that Siemens was not equipped for the job that was given. We are seeing the results. I've been here for years now. What have we seen? You see, we need investment across generation, transmission, and distribution. What Nigerians do is they are always attacking the discourse alone, and I do not blame them, because there's a lot of ignorance, There's a lot of ignorance peddling going on when people are analyzing the problems of the power sector. You do not talk about transmission all the time, because the discos are the closest to us. They are the people we see. We do not see the gencos. When gencos don't have electricity, when they do not have gas supply and they cannot generate, people only talk about it. It's the discourse that we always like to abuse because of the
closeness to the people.
Character ignorance. It's about ignorance. You must first know what each of these relay legs in the power sector do. If you do not generate enough, do you then expect the discourse to perform miracles? If you do not will enough to the discourse, if the transmission leg does not will enough, what do you then expect the discourse to do? It's a relay. Everyone must play his part. Everyone must function optimally. Today, those who will tell you the truth will tell you that talking about the transmission, TCN, a lot of the equipment are old. Some of them are more than 40 years old, and yet we want results. So we must invest heavily across the board. Transmission, generation, transmission, and distribution. That is the way we can guarantee results. It's not to simply identify, even energy thieves, they too are abusing this course. Those who are not prepared to, who bypass meter, they too is this course that they are abusing.
Energy thieves.
If we want results, we must, yes, if we want results, we must concentrate, we must look at the whole gamut of the power sector and ask ourselves, look at the Minister of Power saying the other day that Nigerians have no longer buy petrol because electricity is now constant. The question that somebody who is not ignorant will ask is, what quantity of electricity is generated? We've not moved beyond 5,000 megawatts. So a country that is doing 4,000 plus on the average, a country that really does above 5,000 is saying that electricity is constant. Where is it constant? And even when 5,000 megawatts is produced, is generated, how much is TCN able to will? How much is TCN? Sometimes when they do, I remember when they moved across, ahead of 5,313 megawatts. That was a shutdown the next day. They cannot even sustain it. So we have all kinds of problems. We need to know what the problems are.
Okay. All right. Adekunle Yusuf, the Minister of Power. Okay, he also said, the VK has talked about one of the things he said. He also said, why are you laughing? But he also said,
that
the power, it will take 2 years to sort out the issue in the power sector. How reliable is this? Is this not too long?
Unfortunately, I don't see him even sorting out anything. So when he's now projecting 2 years of just expecting nothing, when you put nothing on nothing. You see, the sector has been in serious crisis before this government.
Okay.
And so far, I've never seen any concrete plan that somebody is working and that we can now say, let's make some projections. The other day they were talking about band A, band. Please, in South Africa, the example can be copied. When you have all of this, why don't you put all your businesses on band A? But they rushed to criminalize poverty. People who have money come to band A, the universities, public hospitals. Before you know it, they created another, set of problems. The problem is deep, and we need people who are really committed, from government to the private sector, to be able to do it. In the area of grid modernization, Nigeria is not doing anything in this regard.
Okay.
National grid modernization, talk to those who are there. You will be sorry for our country. We need huge investment to modernize that aspect. We need to come to invest in power generation. Of course, we've had that several times during the last administration. We haven't yet seen the results.
Okay.
We need to do heavy investment in infrastructure around transmission and generation and distribution as well. So in those 3 areas, 4 areas, what have we achieved? During Jonathan regime, we are talking about 4,000 megawatts, 3,500. Today, we are still talking about the same thing. So I don't want to talk about the power minister, because each time he speaks, I wonder if he understands the problems. And that's why I always just want to. How can somebody say that in 2 years you will solve the problems? Throughout the life of this administration, possible 8 years, they will still be solving the problems, because it's not a magic thing. It's not like other sectors where you can just order.
Okay.
Many of these things you have to, for the manufacture,
All right, we still have joining us via Zoom the MD CEO of Association of Nigerian Electricity Distributors, Sunday Odunton. All right, so nice to still have you here. But I want to ask, is it possible to have like a redundancy, like a spinning reserve or idle power, you know, at both generation and transmission to deal with stresses on the grid that we cannot predict? Is it possible?
Thank you very much. It is possible, but let me be honest with you. Number one, two things are required by TCN to stabilize the power grid. We need SCADA, which is an equipment that we're talking about for a long time. We were told last week by the TCN MD that now 70% completed that will come on stream. And we need, like rightly said, spinning reserve. But you see, when you talk about spinning reserve, in layman's language, what it simply means is that if you have enough, you need to have extra. So as people demand for more power, now bringing the reserve. So when you don't have enough, where will you get the extra? You have 4 children in the house. The food you have in the house is only enough for 3 children, and you say you want to have another extra plate of rice. Eat that by the side. What about the first person who has no eating? So we have this problem. Usually we should all accept that they are children, and we should all come towards solution rather than naming, blaming, and claiming. It is sagging my heart when I hear our friend media talking about power sector and the job will change into. Power sector problem started when they spoke to people who know nothing about power. That's very long. But again, in fact, the president should be if he cannot talk words, if he cannot reach the president, well, he should talk to people outside government who can tell him, because I'm not sure the president is aware of the enormity of this problem.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Sunday Odunton. Sunday Odunton is the MD CEO of Association of Nigerian Electricity Distributors. Annette, thank you so much for joining us on Journalist Hangouts, having this conversation with us. All right, so, gentlemen, states can now generate electricity. We saw that one in the last administration. And how many states have started this? Are they showing the willingness to power up their states?
Very good question. The states have the wherewithal, some of them. And that is what we've always called for restructuring of the Nigerian Federation. So that states can give power to states to be able to perform. We saw what happened during the First Republic. Most of the development that you are seeing in the Southwest was because of cocoa. In the Southeast, it was coal. In the North, it was granite. And every of
healthy rivalry.
Yes, I talk about Kogi State. And that's what I was talking about, Kogi State and the issue of airports.
Okay.
For goodness sake, if the governor had said that he's going to build a rail line between Kogi and probably Abuja and some of these other states, I'm telling you that would have had a lot of, development. Because if you look at the iron ore that is in Kogi State.
Okay.
You are talking about power distribution. Enugu State has become the first state in Nigeria. You know that they're into distribution now, and they're practically taking it off, and they're already they are doing well from the report I'm getting. If every other state in the zone, there was one in Abia State. You've forgotten the one that happened in Aba recently.
But is that for Abia State? It's private.
No. It's supposed to be private.
It's an Abia State.
Yes, it was private. It was the former Minister of Power.
Yes, Nigeria, exactly.
Yes, but it's still part of what we're talking about. But there's no way whatever is generating, he cannot consume it. It's going to sell it out. It's Abia people, go to Abia people.
Okay.
And I will tell you that we cannot have any meaningful development if we don't get our power sector right. The SMEs have collapsed in Nigeria. Even the so-called big ones are disappearing on a daily basis. because of energy. So that is why I think that our current government, if we can focus on energy, if that's only the, don't forget what Obasanjo did with telecom. That transformed Nigeria. Telecom alone. If we can be able to get it right in the energy sector.
Do you like that?
We are talking about the minister saying in 2 years. The one of the petroleum that told us that our refinery will be ready in December. What happened to it? Is it working now? That is the question. Let us not believe most of these rhetorics. Let them give us action, which is why some of us believe that these ministers that president changed, it has not changed enough. So I still have to go if we must get it right. That's my personal opinion.
All right, BKO. BK, are you still there with me? Hello, BK, are you still there? Okay, I think we kind of lost BK. But anyway, we're talking about states. States can now generate. What are your thoughts on that? Are they showing the willingness to actually power up their states here?
Go and see the example in Akwa Ibom. Long before even the sector was, liberalized, decentralized. The state had already, and the commissioning, everything came at the right time when then President Muhammadu Buhari was signing the law that has opened up the space. When you are forward looking, you know what you want to do. Instead of committing the state resources to big, white elephant projects, some of which we have talked about, you can do things where there is constant electricity.
Yes.
The businesses, small,
will thrive,
and big businesses will flock there. And the rate of crime will reduce because most Nigerians don't need, handouts from government to survive. They can do things for themselves. People like, in hairdressing, barber, all those things. Now, if big businesses realize, because it is better, it is far cheaper to be on electricity, public electricity. Where there is electricity, businesses will rush to go and establish.
All right, let's, BK, are you back with me?
I can barely hear you people. I don't know whether you can hear me.
Okay, we can hear you. We can hear you. What are your thoughts on it for private involvement in the power sector or in the states? What are your thoughts on that?
I thought about what?
From private
states
coming to the electricity sector.
Electricity sector, as it has been.
Yes, that is the way to go. We need more investment in the sector. It's highly capital intensive, and that's why you can see that there are not many players. So we need people to invest, even in alternative energy. I've talked before about India having an airport that runs 24 hours on solar. We rely so much on gas-fired power plants in our country. We need to look at other electricity generation sources, like hydro, for example. Brazil relies heavily on hydro. South Africa relies heavily on coal. We still have tremendous coal deposits in our country. So let's even try to look at other sources of electricity generation, so that we can complement what our three major hydro plants give us and what our gas-fired power plants led by EGNI, which is the biggest in West Africa, gives us this time.
All right, thank you so much, BKO. Thank you so much for your analysis this beautiful Sunday afternoon. And I want to say a big thank you to Adekunle Yusuf. Thank you very much for coming on Journalist Hangout to have this conversation. CKN, thank you very much for having this conversation with me. And I want to say a big thank you to the gentlemen in the PCR and the MCR for also pressing the buttons appropriately for us to have a beautiful show. Thank you so much, guys. And that's all on Journalist Hangout. And also big thank you to Sunday Odunton for also joining us on the show to have this conversation on the issue of power Thank you very much. And that's it on Journalist Hangout on Sunday. Join us tomorrow for the regular episode of the program at 5 p.m. You can watch the repeat broadcast of this episode tonight at 11:30. We are on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I am Benga Oreshegun. Bye for now, and God bless Nigeria.
Hello, TVC Communications, how can I help?
What makes TVC the right choice for my business?
Excellent question, sir. Let me share some exciting facts with you.
Start your day on TVC Entertainment with Wake Up Nigeria, a family and lifestyle show. Your view empowers women globally.
It's your view, let it count.
Entertainment Splash delivers the hottest celebrity trends. On TVC News, we keep you informed with breaking news and in-depth analysis of events shaping the world.
I will continue to speak the truth.
TVC News at 7 and TVC News at 10 p.m. delivers the most important stories of the day. Max FM, your hit music radio station, captivates listeners daily across Lagos and Abuja, making every commute more enjoyable. Adaba 88.9 FM is not left out, as it is the voice of Southwest. And on TVC Digital, we reach to million viewers daily. All together, pulls in over 17 million viewers daily. Contact us on 0707-272-8338 or marketing at tvccommunications.tv. Partner with TVC Communications today. Let's grow together.
Stay ahead with the biggest news stories. Go beyond the news headlines. Experience impactful investigations. Enjoy resourceful news coverage in real time. TVC News at 7 and TVC News at 10 p.m. Live every day on this channel.
TVC News, first with breaking news. Events for the month of October 2024. 1st of October is Nigeria's 64th Independence Day. On the 5th of October is the World Teachers' Day. On the 6th of October is the